Today I'm chatting with Mel Brewers, Aspen Medical's Social Impact Manager. Mel has been with Aspen Medical for over a decade and has worked her way from operations to culture and performance via a stint in West Africa during the Ebola outbreak in 2014-2015, to today having landed herself in a cushy little number as the company's first Social Impact Manager. She's married to Ant and she's a mum to Hugh and Henry. Mel hails from Canberra, but these days lives in Yass. I started by asking Mel if she has found her dream job. Social Impact Manager. What a great job title. It must be your dream job. I mean, it's kind of cruisy, isn't it?
Very cruisy. No, it's actually quite busy. Eamon.
Okay, go ahead, we're all ears. Tell us what you do on a daily basis. Tell us what a normal day looks like for you.
So on a daily basis, obviously emails, and it depends on what's come through and where we are.
Who are they from? Are they from important people? Craig Fitzgerald, Glenn Keys,
No,
Mel Keys?
Glenn Keys forwards me a lot of emails that I have to respond to him for people asking for money. Or us to partner with them is probably a better way to say it. And yeah, so often
I send them one looking for money.
Yeah, use it on looking for money. So there's a lot of responding to people. You know, if it's not within what we would normally fund from the foundation, then saying sorry, it doesn't fall within disease eradication. And then also sometimes we get really good, great ones that then I'll work through getting a proposal from them that we can take to the board to present to see whether we're going to partner with them.
And that's to the foundation. But now tell me, stop me getting confused. Hands Across Canberra, is that something we do through the foundation, or is that through Aspen Medical Proprietary Limited, or
both?
Through both.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because of the way they do it, so we are a part of Hands Across Canberra and do the community grant rounds, and some of them are health related, some of them are disability related. So anything that's health related, we do through the foundation. So that's like mental health for mob, MS, and cerebral palsy. Anything that's disability related will be through Aspen Medical Proprietary Limited.
Okay.
So that's how we kind of steer it. And then we also sometimes put it out to our employees, and especially the Canberra-based ones, and we'll say, these are all of the applications that Hands Across Canberra have received. Which ones would you be interested in funding? And staff will write back and say, I think we should give money to this or this and this.
Oh, sort of like a straw poll of what we think, generally speaking. Okay. There was, excuse me, you mentioned mental health for mob, which I love the mental health for mob piece, because when I read down through it and you and I were chatting and I said, would you send me some notes so I can understand what's going on with mental health for mob? And I'll let you talk about it, obviously, because this is about you, not me. But I loved the bit where one of our jobs as Aspen Medical was to convince this other organisation that they should give someone a day off so they could do this much more important work that we felt was more important for them to be doing rather than their actual day job, wasn't it? So I'm probably oversimplifying it. But tell us about mental health for mob.
So mental health for mob, Kristen runs mental health for mob, and she was doing a full-time job 5 days a week and doing this on the side. And it was like a full-time job on top of it. Craig Fitzgerald and I met with Kristen, and
Kristen's a First Nations...
First Nations mental health nurse.
Yep.
So she started this because she's seen that there was a real need in Canberra and the surrounding regions. Now she does telehealth and she does lots of different things around. So Craig had advised her that if you keep doing this as a volunteer, you're going to burn out and this isn't going to work. So you need to be paid to do this if you want to make it work. So he suggested putting in a grant to Hands Across Canberra, which we supported, and got John James Foundation and Hands Across Canberra in on it as well to support Kristen and take 1 day a week off from her job so that she could...
You see, I think that's a great story because, well, I would say that, wouldn't I? I'm a storyteller. Or it's what's going on around Aspen Medical these days. Everyone's a chief. I'm going to appoint myself as chief newsmaker. That's what I do. But I think it's a great story because it rather than just... I don't know, this might sound flippant, but rather than just writing a check and hoping that things go away and that's it, I've done what I feel, we actually went out of our way to say to Kristen and give her the benefit of our experience and say, this is such an important initiative that you're doing, but you're not going to be able to realise it and you're going to fall flat and no one will pick this up and run for you. So you actually need our support to actually, so rather than hands across Canberra just saying, here's a check, go off and make things happen, it was, the funding was actually about giving her time off to actually get deeper into this and to make it work.
And we've also offered her our clinical team as well. So when she needs clinical governance support, that we can like hook her up with Caroline Nash or someone like that that's very senior, and they can help her with that, and they could use their volunteer days to help her.
And have they used their volunteer days to help her yet?
Not yet, but that is in the making.
Okay, so remind everybody again. I know we do this all the time. Don't be looking at them. They're not looking at you. 2 volunteer. How does one go about, off the top of your head, what's the criteria? Is it, like, for argument's sake, if I wanted to volunteer to do something in MS Australia because I have an interest in that, right? So I say, oh, look, they're looking for a guy to write a really average media release, and I'm the guy to do that, right? So what would I do? How would I get my days off?
It's all a part of your leave form. So all you do is, when you go to your leave form, there's a bit of a section that says volunteer day. You select that, and then you just type in the note what you're volunteering for, submit, and it goes to your manager and they approve it. Now, it's that simple.
Now, hold on one second. I'm just being devil's advocate here. I'm not suggesting I would do this. I put in my hi, John Kelly. I'm going to volunteer to go over to MS Australia and to help them do some communication stuff. That's great, Eamon. That's what we like to see. I put it in, I disappear off back into Bateman's Bay, and I sit there with my sunglasses on and I'm on the beach for 2 days. Do we have some way of auditing whether you've done it or not? Does there need to be, we're not really like that, are we? Do we not just say to the organisation, can you just verify that Eamonn Quinn was actually there rather than...
One of our key points is integrity. And I would think that no employee would actually do that. I would think most people are good.
I think they are. Inherently people are good, aren't
they? So if you were going to go to that length to scam it, then
we trust you.
We trust you.
Okay. I think that's an important. The reason I say it, and the reason I've mentioned it, and I know we've talked about it a couple of times this morning and other stuff. I don't think people necessarily. It's not something that you. And I know there's only so much you can keep saying to people, but it's such a good. It's such a great benefit for the company, right? And I'm not here to sell benefits. I'm not trying to do that. It's just, it's not something you hear about. Certainly not something I've heard about anywhere else at all. And just to have those 2 days where you know you can down tools and focus on doing some good wherever it is you believe. I think, well, maybe I might do the MS ride up to Wollongong.
Maybe.
Because I think they do that on a weekend, but I think I'd need 2 volunteer days just to recover after that. But anyway, I went swimming. Wait till I tell you this. I went swimming for the first time in about 20 years, yes. I used to be a swimmer, like as a kid. Now, we'll get into all your pastimes, but this is about me momentarily. I went swimming and I bought all the gear.
All the gear and no ID?
All the gear, and I went in and I joined the Bay Pavilions Aquatic Centre down in Bateman's Bay. And I used to swim as a kid, like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, squad swimming, all that kind of stuff. Had my medals, lots of bronze medals, much to my father's disdain. So I jumped into the pool, and it had slow lane, medium lane, fast lane, learner lane, recreational lane. And I said, okay, chill out here, just get into the slow lane, just build up to it, over the next half an hour. I was out of the pool in 10 minutes. I literally, every muscle was hurting. Yeah. Every muscle was hurting. And I was out of breath. And I've never been out of breath swimming, but I was out of breath. At one stage, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. But anyway, that was just a little aside for me. Now, let's get on with you. Now, you are the mother to 2 lovely boys, Henry and Hugh.
Yes.
Now, was the 2 H's, you just like H's?
No, Hugh we wanted, we wanted both of them. Hugh...
I want to edit the down. It's all right, Henry. I know you're watching this when you're like 15 or 16. It's just your mum didn't go on.
Hugh we were both sold on, me and my husband, and we couldn't decide on a name for the second born, which is Henry. I wanted Artie. And
okay, okay. Nice
Artie,
name.
And my husband would not come at that, and he wanted Henry. And I was like, well, Henry's okay.
But Henry's actually Harry, isn't it?
I don't know. He's not Harry. It's just Henry.
Okay. Now...
Is this like how John is Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a prince. You don't think Prince Harry was named Prince Harry, do you?
Is he Prince Henry?
Yeah, I think he's Henry.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to look out into the audience out there momentarily. Do you know that? Is that correct? Oh, sorry. One of our camera people is on their intranet, probably, doing something else. But anyway, look, I think Henry is actually Harry, but that's neither here nor there. But
Okay.
anyway, so Henry and Hugh.
Yes.
And how old are Henry and Hugh?
3 and 1. Henry's almost 2.
God help you. Okay, so that is outside of doing what you do for a living, that's a full-time job, right?
It's chaotic.
It's chaos. All right, okay. And listen, actually, we will have to talk about this. And we'll get back to more serious stuff momentarily. I remember when either you got engaged or got married, and to you it was a bit of a surprise. Did an aunt surprise you with something like, and you weren't dressed properly for the occasion?
We had a surprise wedding.
Happened. You what?
We had a surprise wedding.
But was it a surprise to you?
It was not.
All right, okay. I'm getting the wrong end of the stick because I'm pretty sure you told me people turned up in jeans and stuff, that he didn't tell them necessarily that it was a wedding.
We said it was our engagement party.
Right.
And we turned up married. So we'd got married at a friend's property earlier that day.
Okay.
With there was about 20 people there.
Okay.
And then we had about 170 people.
Surprise, we're married!
Come to our engagement party, which was in our shed on our property. And we turned up in a wedding dress, and some people suspected it.
Okay.
But yeah, because I'd put.
So do you regret doing that? Do you, if you could go back in time?
No, not at all. It was so.
Oh, I don't mean marrying your husband. I mean just the idea of let's surprise everyone by pretending we're. Would it not have been better to say, please join us and get dressed up appropriately because we got married today, earlier on? No.
No, well, no one turned up in tracksuit pants, so that was one good thing. Yeah, because I thought, it's a shed party. People might think, just rocking the trackies and Uggies, because it is yes. But yeah, no one did. Jeans was the least dressiest people.
Now, I'm pretty good at this. I'm going to guess. I'm pretty good at this because of my European heritage. Pretty worldly we are over in Europe. Brewers, I'm going to say, don't tell me, Dutch.
Yes.
Yay, look at that. Brewers. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. So Ant is a full blue, dyed-in-the-wood Aussie with Dutch heritage.
Yes, so he's Dutch and German. So his grandmother was
that is
German,
unusual. That's quite unusual.
And his grandfather was Dutch, and they met in Australia because they both fled during World War II.
Right, because they tend not to get along in Europe. They don't tend to talk very nicely about each other in Europe. You should go to a football match between a German team and a Dutch team. Not pretty. Anyway, look, that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's talk about. I want to talk about the foundation in a little bit more detail. Now I know we've covered this, but I think for you and I, it's good to chat because sometimes it's like us having a meeting in front of people, isn't it? Reminding me what I'm supposed to be doing, and then
and
you say, I didn't do that for him. We spent $500,000. Spent is the wrong word. We funded over $500,000 for scholarships in First Nations people who are studying a health-related degree, right? And as you and I know, I certainly think, I know there's a lot of other work we do. Trachoma, we worked in crusted scabies and stuff like that. We were involved there. But this is a real landmark program, isn't it? I mean, does it get you excited when you're doing it?
Yeah, it does, because it makes such a difference. So people that would normally not be able to afford to live on campus now can live on campus because we will fund their accommodation. So most scholarships can vary from $5,000 to $12,000, just depending on who it is and what we're paying for, and also tutoring. So one girl was spending $2,000 per annum on tutoring. That was her costs were going towards it. And the scholars can pick whatever they want to spend it on. So it's not sort of tied down. One lady, we pay for her parking. Like there's just different sort of.
Well, I mean that can add up, right?
It really does.
If you're a student and it's a day-long parking 3 days a week, I mean, that adds up, right?
And then it's also given them the freedom to not have to work a lot of them. Like sometimes work, but work as much as they would, because sometimes a lot of uni students
obviously focus on their studies. Focus on the studies.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not, and it's not something that we do in Canberra. Actually, is it? It's actually something that we have spread around the country to an extent, isn't it? So I know we've done stuff in the University of Newcastle. I know that, and I know we've just what's the best way to say that?
Re-engaged or
Re-engaged. We have
repartnered.
re-signed up
Yep.
to work with the University of Newcastle and their Faculty of Medicine around another 3 years, which is fantastic news. So Newcastle, obviously, that's where
Yep.
Glenn is from. So therefore, we definitely are invested in that area. Where else are we doing
So we've
scholarships?
just started one at Edith Cowan University in WA.
WA?
Yes.
You see that? Now you see, this is where you and I are kind of having a meeting now, because I saw that, but I never bothered to check where it was. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's WA. That's
so
great news.
Greg Levin, who's joined the board,
Yeah.
he brought the proposal for us to do a scholarship over in WA because we're trying to spread the love. And yeah, it got up. So there's one scholarship over there now. We have 4 in Queensland through Griffith University, but they don't go through the university for their scholarship. They come directly through Aspen Medical Foundation.
Okay.
And it just so happens that there's 4 because they all talk to each other and came on board that way. Word spread. We've got one in Orange. And then we've just signed up, which is really, really exciting. So Linda Johansson, who is in the clinical team over in Fiji that works for Aspen, she came to me with an idea of upskilling their staff and wanted to know how the foundation could do this. So now what we're going to do is, through the Australian College of Nursing, where they're going to offer postgrad certificates to Fijian local staff in neonatal, paediatrics, acute care and critical care. So this is going to give them the skill set to, enhance what they're doing over there, which is just incredible.
Under the guidance of the great Barry Herberts and the
Baz.
big bad Baz.
He's very nice.
Under he is indeed, and so that's great. So within our team in Fiji, we're now broadening our scholarship. Opportunities. Which
again,
is
trying to build that
fantastic.
workplace capacity.
Yeah,
building.
And without letting any cats out of the bag, are there any other Pacific islands that we might think about doing something else in the future?
Yes, PNG is definitely on the radar. So there's a couple of internal scholarships that will be happening for our local staff in PNG.
Oh, so our staff in PNG, this is one for them. Okay, beautiful.
Yep. So that'll be more guided by them. So they'll be able to tell us what they're applying for, and there'll be $5,000 scholarships to assist them in their studies. We're gauging that it'll be more around paying for the course fees so that they can go on and do a postgrad or post-certificate, any sort of training that will help them enhance what they're currently doing. And then we are going to hopefully look at doing scholarships for local nurses that want to become registered nurses in PNG.
Fantastic, I love it.
Yeah.
Now, that was all very serious. Are you ready for something not so serious?
Yeah, sure.
Come on, not. Now, I know you've born and bred in Canberra. Now, Alex Davies from our Culture and Performance team once described on this very show, and I'm going to call it a show, that I said, well, how would you describe Canberra? And she said, nothing unexpected ever happens. Now, I've used that.
Good.
I have used that several times with people who don't know Canberra, and I say, well, it shouldn't know Canberra. It's cool. What's Canberra like? Nothing unexpected happens. Now, you're born in Canberra. You now live in Yass.
Yes.
Okay. Does anything unexpected happen in Yass?
No. No, I shouldn't
Does
say.
anything happen in Yass?
Oh, lots of
Now,
things.
listen, tell us.
We just got a new park. That was exciting.
You got a new park. and did the local Yass Chronicle come down to take photographs of it?
did.
Did you have Henry and Hugh there?
We didn't go opening day because it was a bit too busy.
There was 14 people there, was there, in the 15-acre park in Yass. I'm not, sorry, I live regional myself, as you know, so
Yes.
I'm a proponent of that particular style of living. Now, but can you tell me, it sounds like you have sort of, and I don't want to get into your personal stuff, but it sounds like you have property because you're in Yass. Do you have any animals, pets?
Yeah, so we've got a 5-acre block and we have 6 sheep.
6 sheep.
Yes.
And
that we're just fattening up nicely.
oh, are you going to, look, anyone out there, right, there's a disclaimer over the next minute or so, right, if you can turn off if you're vegetarian. Are you going to eat the sheep?
Yeah.
You don't eat sheep, though. You eat lambs.
Yeah. No, well, they're lambs. They're only 18 months old. We'll breed off them to create more sheep.
Right.
And then,
Okay.
No, it was really sad.
So are you trying to, are you like building a flock? Is it a herd of sheep or a flock of sheep?
A herd, I think.
Is it?
Flock. Flock. Flock.
A flock.
Yeah.
It's a flock of sheep.
Yeah, it's a herd of cattle.
That sounds wrong. A herd of cattle. Okay. So are you trying to build, are yourself and Aunt trying to, you're out in the wellies, you're out in the gum boots, yeah? You have big jumpers on in the winter and you're going out and you're bringing out hay. Like, do you see your vision, is Mel Brewer's going to a ponytail and, delivering lambs at 2:00 in the morning and stuff like that? Is that what you want to do?
No, well, we originally got sheep because it was just too much mowing. So we thought, we'll fence off that area and then we can just have sheep so they'll keep the grass down. And our friend had a couple of potties, so we bottle fed them up.
Okay.
Which makes me sound a little bit crueler now.
It does,
I think
yeah.
I fed them and then I'm going to kill them and eat them. I'm not going to kill them, they'll cut them.
Yeah,
it happens.
It happens in a place where there's beautiful fairies and unicorns traveling around, and they just go off to sleep, and that's the end of it. Okay, well, I love lamb, so I'm looking forward to coming to.
So I think there's a ram coming in today to see if we can breed off them.
Okay.
And then we'll start. But we're not farmers, so Aunt's friends are farmers, so they come and do the farm stuff for us.
Okay. Well, my wife is looking forward, and she's trying to encourage me to get. Are they small, mini goats, baby goats?
Oh, I really wanted them, but Aunt
that's
said
what
no.
she keeps saying to me. Well, tell Aunt I've also said no, and now it's live. I'm not getting. And everyone says, "Oh, well, look at them." They bounce, and they jump on your back. I've got 3 German Shepherd dogs, and no. I've got 6 chucks still after a year, and that's pretty good. None of them have been taken accidentally in the middle of the night, and none have found their way into Fergus or Rufus's diet yet. So I'm doing well. But I think if we go down the route of a couple of, because my wife can never get one. Oh, it'll be lonely.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be lonely. So I get 2 of them, and
I don't think he can eat mini goats.
No, I don't think you can. So they're just pets, and I've enough things pooing around my garden at this stage without having. Anyway,
we also have a dog.
You have a dog?
Oh, it's a foster dog. So our neighbour, he went to Columbaroo for 12 months to work on a mission.
Left the dog with you, and now he's not taking the dog back.
That's what my husband thinks. He's like, we're going to be stuck with this dog forever.
How old is the dog? Is it
He's 8 or 9.
That's not bad. And what kind of dog is he?
He's a border collie.
Oh, super intelligent dogs.
He's so cruisy. He's a good dog.
Well, that's good. Super intelligent dog and cruisy. So you're lucky there. They're very high maintenance, but you have in the sense that they need a lot of exercise. So with the 6, hold on a second. What do you even? Can you not train the collie to round up the sheep and
No, he did it the other day, and one of the sheep went into the fence. He's not very good at it. It's like, it was bad. I was like,
so, does he actually know what to do? But he's just not very good at. Oh, it's a bit like me.
Yeah, I think I don't know. He didn't help us very much when we were trying to get the sheep in to get drenched and crutched. He
knows what to do, but he's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He hasn't had a lot of practice.
Hasn't had CPD.
He needs it.
Okay, well that's good. So you have good for you. I like that. So you've got 2 babies, and you've got 2 babies and a husband and sheep and a border collie that you don't actually own.
Yeah.
Mel, tell me now. There was one thing you've asked me. Oh, don't talk to me about that. But we're live studio audience here. I remember how you got in, and I know you've always had an inherent interest in social purpose and all that kind of stuff. And I know you're one of those people who was ahead of the game because you were much more into it than I. But then you're younger than me, right? And you were very much into it and so. But where I saw you actually take something and turn it into a monster was when a colleague of ours, Joel Sardi, who we talked about earlier on in a different interview, Joel Sardi worked for a subsidiary of Aspen Medical called Ironside Recruitment. Joel was an ex-ADF member, and he was quadriplegic after an accidental fall, and he was going to the States to do this kind of revolutionary treatment and so on. And the good news is, by the way, on a recent post by Joel, because I saw it on his LinkedIn post, he had his 2 beautiful baby girls, and he said something about he wouldn't change a thing. And this is a guy who at the prime of his health and fitness became a quadriplegic. You took it upon yourself to do June for Joel. Now, I just want to be clear. In the earlier interview, there was you came up with the name. I came up with the name.
Did you?
You came to me and you said, oh, I need a name for this. And I went, I don't know, call it, well, when are you doing it? You said, we're going to do it in June. I said, June for Joel. And you went, oh my God, you're so good. And I went, whatever. And I walked away from it. But it took on a momentum all on its own. And you really got into it. And you did videos for us. Now, no matter what happens, I'm showing them right now.
Oh, dear Lord.
We did videos where you were walking on the spot and trying to get people
It still haunts me, that video. I cringe every time I think about it.
Listen, I think it defined your career, to be perfectly honest. But look, that was a really interesting time because you got quite into that. And for those who would like to know, how much did we raise? The
$10,000.
$10,000 over the course of a month.
Yep.
We know there was a few people putting in pretend things like...
Is that you?
Oh yeah, I certainly did that. I committed to walking 1,000 steps. I think I walked 4. But as I said to you, well, I'm the one writing the story, so I mean, I'm, the history, the victor and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you got stuck into that really, really well, and you've got a huge amount of people involved across it. Just talk about it. I mean, it was everybody, right?
Yeah, so at the time we were in Mosul, so we had a lot of the staff over there that participated. I remember having like some pilot from Africa send me his steps, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know we were in Africa.
That's why I love you now. Like, you didn't even know we were in Africa. Go on. Perfect.
Whatever's in my bubble.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just incredible. We had people in the US walking. So it was, for every kilometre walked, Aspen would donate $1,000. So we had people on Bechtel. They were just walking laps because they would do 5 or 10 kilometres a day just as part of their fitness. So they were sending in their kilometres. And so by the end of June, we got to 10,000 steps, which was pretty incredible.
I remember, unless I'm mistaken, I remember Bruce Armstrong leading people around the oval.
He did actually. I forgot about that.
He got them. He put on his old military ADF hat and he sergeant major. And I know he wasn't a sergeant major, so don't come at me with that one. But I know he was a senior rank. But the point is, he was out there doing it, wasn't he?
And Colin was really on board. Yeah, it was. Everyone got behind it.
Everyone got behind it. It was fantastic. It was a wonderful achievement by you for sure, and a great piece of fun as well because we did the videos and we did all that. And there was a great sense of. I remember that, just watching it happen, there was a great sense of achievement. So a belated congratulations and well done.
You.
Well done on that.
I think I got a star for it.
Did you get a star award? I came up with that as well. It's not about you, Eamon. But think bubble. Rebecca Quinn, not about you. We'll get into the last few bits, but you just mentioned I didn't know we were in Africa from the girl who went to West Africa. So tell us about that because, for those who don't know, you joined the company and you were what was called a POP at the time, wasn't it? A project officer personnel. So your job was to liaise with the frontline clinicians who were as part of our workforce around Australia and everything else, and that was your role, along with a few other of the original Spice Girls. There was yourself, there was Maddie Carlin,
Emma Black,
there was Emma
Melinda
Black,
Hodges.
there was keep
Brie,
going. Mel Hodges,
and Brie Maxworthy.
Oh my God!
It was so fun.
You guys were. You were the first person who said the word meme to me. You said, I really want to touch base with all these people and really get them enthused and get them interested about working for Aspen Medical. Do you think we could do a meme? And I said, no. And I walked off and I had to Google what was a meme because I was too old and no one had ever suggested using a comedic meme to try and get people to concentrate more on their job at Aspen Medical. But I remember that. But look, the point is you joined the operations team. And in 2015, I think it was, you volunteered, as mad as you were, as a non-clinician, and you went to Sierra Leone. Tell us about why, what were you doing, and what was the experience like?
Oh, it was incredible. It was so amazing. The people over there were just amazing. So they needed a workforce or project officer back then, a POP, to go over. So Lolly Hughes had gone first, and then Anthony Sullivan, and then... So everyone did rotations, and then I went in for the last 8 weeks. No, I wasn't last. I was there, and then Katie Seabrook came in after me. So it was just an 8-week rotation where we would go and live and just do all the sort of general admin personnel stuff that needed to happen.
Were you ever worried, concerned? I mean, you so just to put it in perspective, Dr. John Gerard, who is now the Chief Medical Officer of Queensland, was working with us at that stage, and he was a well-known infectious tropical disease expert, not only in Australia but globally, and he was the man who discovered the first case of HIV in Australia.
Was he?
Yes, he was. I've done my background on Dr. Gerard, and I've spoken to him a few times. Very interesting guy. That said, he described it as the worst ever outbreak of the worst known communicable disease in the worst part of the world.
Yeah.
But you decided you'd go there.
Yeah, well, I think I was probably just didn't think about it too much. Like,
Yeah.
I know that my family definitely did. They were very against it, and they said, like, you'll get kidnapped, you'll be this, you'll that, you know. And I don't think I'd ever been to a developing country before. So it was a shock. When I first got off at the airport, I was like, oh my God, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
And it was a long road, and you had to get off the bus and go through these checkpoints, which was quite like, it was just a little bit scary because you weren't aware.
You're not familiar. You're
not familiar
culturally,
with it.
You're not familiar with what people are.
So someone's telling you to get off a bus.
And they're standing with guns, probably.
Yeah, there was guns, and then they're taking your temperature, and
yeah,
and then we got there, and then we got to where we were staying, and it was like this beautiful resort. It was
in
weird.
Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Because a lot of the English used to go there before. Well, they would go there now when Ebola wasn't happening on holiday.
Well, Sierra Leone. The reason, and again, I just like to ask why, or as the great Stuart Reynolds would say, be curious. I couldn't figure out why the British government were building which we ended up managing.
Yeah.
Obviously in Sierra Leone, they were building the Ebola treatment centre because West Africa at that time was being split up to deal with the outbreak on colonial grounds. So Sierra Leone was an ex-British colony. Even though the Americans don't have colonization per se, they had a strong relationship with Liberia. So it was the Aspen Medical USA team in Liberia, and I think was it Guinea was the other one, and the French were looking after, helping out in that country as well. So that's why. So it would make sense that British people would go there and be there, and okay. So it was a.
It was like, I think there's a big British expat community there as well. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was definitely an eye opener. But it was just wonderful. Like, we were right near a little village, and we used to go and you'd play soccer sometimes with the local kids, not touching, of course, because nobody was allowed to touch. And it was just
this is
a
not
great
quite COVID you're
experience.
talking about. This is like touch people and you could 50% mortality rate. Did you know?
Ebola, was it?
Of 50% mortality.
Yeah.
I think overall nearly 12,000 people passed away over that 12-month period. Incredible stuff, unfortunately. And of course, finish off on a very positive note for you. You did get, if my memory serves me correct, you were lucky enough to go with our broader team of clinicians and some of the other support team who went, and you got yourself the humanitarian, not yourself, but you were awarded the Humanitarian Overseas Service Medal.
Yes.
By the Governor General.
Yes. It was
nice experience.
David Hurley, it was wonderful. Yeah, it was really,
very
really
ceremonial. I think there was lots of sitting down in nice suits and being called up one at a time to the.
Yes, and being presented.
Okay.
And
whereabouts is your medal right now?
In my top drawer at home.
Okay, rather than on display.
No. Okay, so we've just finished building our house, and in the bar area, like the back.
Yeah.
It's going to go up in there, but that room's not finished yet because we kind of ran out of bit of money.
Okay. The sheep are currently living in there. Okay. All right. Well, Melissa Brewers, do you know something? Do you know what I was trying to remember? I'm getting old. I said to myself, I'll never remember people's married names. I only remember you now as Mel Brewers. What were you before Mel Brewers?
Irving.
Oh my God, I wouldn't have picked that. Oh my God, Mel Irving. You don't even look like Mel Irving now anymore. You are Mel Brewers, and that's who you are. And it's been wonderful talking to you. And I love speaking to you, and you're great fun, and you do an amazing job for the company. And I have to say, it's great to have someone in a company that actually has a title like you. No, I'm not being silly about it. It's a bold new world, or a brave new world, when companies actually begin appointing people, formally good people, experienced people, into roles that focuses on purpose and focuses on our impact as a business. So, I love the fact that I have to ring you every week or so, and we have sometimes our meetings last 30 seconds because, you're bored. Or sometimes they go on for 45, 50 minutes and we don't really achieve anything. But I love talking to you, and I love hearing the stories, and I love being able to help promote the work that yourself and Craig do as part of our overall social purpose piece. Thanks for coming in. Love talking to you.
Thank you, Eamon.
We'll get you some other time, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. bring you some lamb.
Please.